Hey, what's up guys? Coming back to you again with another video. Today I'm in a different area, so as you can tell I'm not in my garage. So I'm at my other job in their machine shop. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour and then show you what I'm making. First things first, bandsaw, drill press, belt sanders, polisher. Nothing all that exciting, pretty standard stuff to have in a shop. And then we got 4 manual mills, 2 Tormac branded CNC mills, and then a large Haas mill. And then we also have a wire EDM. I love running that thing, it's pretty awesome. And then moving down here a bit, got 2 Haas branded CNC lathes. There's the compressor. 2 Tormac branded CNC lathes. 2 manual lathes back here. A water jet. That's the weld room back there. Nothing really exciting in there right now. And then 2 more manual lathes. I don't need to use any of that stuff today. I'm just going to be on a mill. But yeah, that's a quick little walk around. Also have a wood shop back in here. It's got a, pretty standard items. There's a CNC laser cutter back there as well, and also a CNC router that's new. But yeah, quick little walk around, and then show you what I'm doing today. So, as I mentioned in the last video, I need to make a remote oil pressure sensor mounting block. So that's what I'm gonna machine. I showed this to you in the last video, but yeah, just gonna use it's a Clousing branded, basically mimic of a Bridgeport, nothing that special. But yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. And I'm gonna switch this over to a time lapse, and this will be my first time doing that, so hopefully it works out. So before I get into showing you guys how I machine this, I just wanted to go through and show you guys, kind of some of the design work. So if you can't recognize this, this is Autodesk's Fusion 360. This is the first project that I've done using this, so it was a bit of a learning curve, but this is, obviously you can tell it's generally a simple shape. It's just a rectangular prism really, with a few extra holes. So as you can tell, this is the side with the 1/8 inch MBT port that the AN line will go into. This back corner or back side would be what touches the firewall. This is a sketched circle to represent that Autometer oil pressure sender, and this circle represents the hex size of the OEM pressure sensor. So you can see, kind of chose the whole location based on this rough 2-inch OD to give me clearance for M6 mounting holes up here, but nothing real special about the rest of it. I just drew it up real quick, and as you'll see here in a bit, it doesn't end up looking like this, or at least not a complete rectangle anymore. So as you can see here, I already have the part chucked into the mill, and then I go about edge finding both sides in the X direction to try and find my center point, and then I edge find the lower edge closest to me to give me my distance from that. And then kind of got ahead of myself. I had all my tooling laid out, but forgot a center drill, so I had to go find that real quick and chuck that in, and then go back to the proper drill size for my 1/8 inch MPT fitting. So peck nicely into the aluminum, and then there's my rudimentary way of measuring to make sure I've gotten the right hole depth. And then I go about throwing the tap in there and running it all the way down. Well, there we go guys. One hole down. Not sure how well you're gonna be able to see that. But now I'm gonna move on to doing the M10 by one side, and then I'll do the second 8th MPT one after that. Got the block chucked back into the vise in the mill, edge found both sides in the X direction again to get it centered back up, because obviously I took it out. Then this time chucked in the center drill, didn't forget, and pecked in to give myself a good starting hole. Switched over to the drill bit for a M10 by one thread. There's my rudimentary way of measuring to make sure I've gotten the right hole depth. And then once I drilled that, I swapped over to a 1/8 inch drill bit to drill the connecting hole between both sides so that I had a passage for the oil to go through. Once I was done with that, pulled that out, put the M10 by one tap back in, and kept on going. Tapped the hole all the way down as deep as I could, and there's hole number 2 done. M10 by one. You can see now I have a hole through the center, so that's just an 1/8 inch hole all the way through. Turned out pretty well so far. Last side. Now I've come back and chucked the piece back into the vise with the long side facing the head of the mill. So edge find again, both sides, do the math to get right perfectly in the center. And then I chuck my center drill in, peck a hole in to give me a good starting hole, and then I switch over to use the 1/8 inch drill bit first so that I can make sure that I'm centered up on that 1/8 inch hole that I already drilled through before going full bore to the hole that I'm gonna need to tap that the proper size for 1/8 inch MPT. I re-edge find my upper corner. This is to put the clearance holes for the M6 mounting bolts. So edge find that, center drill to give myself a good starting hole, and then go all the way through with the 6.5 millimeter drill bit, and then it's just rinse and repeat for the opposite side. Alright guys, all made up. So now you can see the finished product. So this will be, if you were looking at the firewall, this is what you would see. So this is the Autometer oil pressure sensor sender. This is the factory one. So I have M6 mounting holes there. I'm probably going to come back and lop some of this material off just to shave some weight and not have to have, you know, 1.5 inch long screws going through this. But 1/8 inch MPT to -4AN line coming out this side. This will be mounted. This will stick out. This will stick to, it'll be the driver's side fenders where this would go. So ring terminal off of this, and then run the wiring over into this and pair them up so it's just one single strand running and not wires going everywhere. But it's got a good tight fit on the MPT, and that's without putting Teflon tape on them yet. And then this is the M10 side. Sorry, the threads are a little long. So yeah, you can see through hole there, through hole there. It's kind of hard to see. So finished up machining this part. Showed you guys, you know, kind of the quick summary at the end of the whole time-lapse series. But I screwed up when I made these. So as I showed you in the beginning of the video with the Fusion 360 views, I kind of just estimated locations for everything and, you know, drew it based on where I needed clearance and tried to establish, you know, getting this low enough so that I had these two holes easily accessible. What ended up happening that I didn't account for was the factory pressure sensor is an M10 by 1 thread, and that uses a copper crush washer to seal. So you can kind of see it in there. So when I made these holes in the location that they were, I didn't think about the diameter of the crush washer. So upon completion, the crush washer hangs out of the bottom. Now, normally I would at least try it and see how it's going to work out and if it's going to leak, but I didn't want to do that with this. I don't want to have to take this back out of the car once I put it in and, you know, it's got oil in it. It's not going to be a fun thing to drain by any means. So I remade another one. And I didn't record this while I did it because I had most of the steps covered. The only thing that I didn't do on the original that I did on the second one is I chopped all the material out of it. So I took it basically half the thickness, and then I counterbored the mounting screw locations. So now it fits M6 hardware, and you can't even tell that the fastener heads are sticking up, and they fit in there quite nicely. So the original block, the holes were 1/4 inch from the bottom edge. So from this surface, the center of that hole is 1/4 inch total. I didn't go back and design this in CAD or even take any measurements for this. I just guessed and chose between either doing 5/16 of an inch or 3/8, and I figured I might as well go for 3/8 if I had the room. So that's what these holes are. And it worked out pretty much perfect. Still got room to get by to put these mounting bolts in, and actually just me counterboring it and taking some of the depth out of it helps a ton, because as you can tell, I'll have plenty of room for an Allen key now. So next episode, hopefully, I will have my stuff from Vibrant to build AN lines for this, and I can show you guys the location of where I want to install this. But for now, this is as far as I've gotten. Hope to see you guys next time, and hope you enjoy some of this content.